Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Genesis. Why don't we stand and come together and sing our opening song. With us. My name is Dave. I'm a practitioner here, and I will be your host today. Our online host is Cal, and if you are watching online, please say hello and comment. Right now, I invite you to join me in reading our vision and our mission statements. We are building a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe place of comfort and peace where all are welcome and accepted, and our vision. Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love, accepting all, a home for the soul where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. And it says, I hope you see and experience that as you celebrate with us today. I like that. That is perfect, because we are all spiritually brilliant here. All right, we'll go on to our announcements here. For announcements, yay, there's me and Jim's shining face up there. That's right, our men's group is tomorrow. So if you'd like more information of that, you can contact me or Jim. We will be reading a fantastic article written by the Reverend David Alexander. So if that sounds entertaining to you, come see me. Next up, we have the Mystical Path. Our very own ChristineEss Young will be facilitating the Mystical Path. And if you're online and then you're doing this, it's because she's the museum. I'm not just pointing randomly here. Practitioner ChristineEss Young will be facilitating the Mystical Path in January. Registration is now open. Unlock the timeless truths of mystic and harness the power of those teachings in your life. Learning how the principle of oneness has a direct impact on your life and how to work with it masterfully. Sign up now to get the early registration discount. And continuing on with ChristineEss Young, she is inviting us all to celebrate her big 5-0. Yay, that's right. On January 12th. And you can check the volunteer table for more information. Or since she's here today, you can just check with her. Save the date, Sunday, January 26th. We are headed to Sound Foundations to build a tiny home. We'll meet to work, connect, and serve our community in a hands-on way. Let us make a meaningful impact. We need at least 10 people, and we have 10 people? We have 10 people, but we can always use more. So please invite your friends to come on and join in that celebration with us. Last but not least, there is a practitioner meeting after service today, so there will be no book study. And I don't see anybody here who is here for the first time, but I do want to say that if anybody is online or sees this message in the future, that we are glad that you are here, and if this is your first time watching online and you'd love to connect with us, we want you to provide information to give everything you need to learn about Genesis, and we do here. So you can stop by the welcome table, or we'll send out information to you so you can connect with us further. And now is time where we get to love and hug on each other. If that does not sound like something, we can shake your hand. You can namaste. Any way that we want to love and hug on each other, or love on each other, maybe that's a better way to say it, is very appropriate. So let's all get up and do that. Listen to that joy. Listen to that love. Oh my gosh, that just fills my heart. I'm just basking in it right now. I know we all just love on each other right now, and we get to express that love by expressing gratitude, and gratitude for the people who help serve us and help serve our community today. And so I'd just like to take time to give us a moment to do that. So if you're a part of the setup and cleanup too, I'm just going to say go ahead and raise your hands. Yeah, let's go ahead and give a round of applause to those people. There you go. Our morning greeter, Tay, Vicky, where are you there? I am so blessed that Vicky gets a chance to visit us, everyone, then goes back to, where are you going again? Where are you going back to? Going back to Georgia. So thank you for visiting us and being our greeter here today. So glad. Our projector and projector and video is Mike and Eric back there. Our online host is Cal. Our sound tech is Jim. Our offering collection is Gideon. Holding vigil back there is our very own Reverend Rose. And our musician, I'll do the pointing thing again, is the lovely ChristineEss Young. So let's give a hand to everybody who is in our service today. And with that, I will give it over to ChristineEss Young to center us in our song, Breathe and Turn Within.
I breathe and turn within.
So today's reading is a reading that I found on social media. It's an absolutely beautiful passage. And if you've seen it already, well, you get to hear it again, but I definitely thought I wanted to share this one today. It's entitled A Spiritual Conspiracy. On the surface of the world right now, there is a war and violence, and things seem dark. But calmly and quietly at the same time, something else is happening. An inner revolution is taking place, and certain individuals are being called to a higher light. It is a silent revolution, from the inside out, from the ground up. This is a global operation, a spiritual conspiracy. There are sleeper cells in every nation on the planet. You won't see us on the TV. You won't read us about in the newspaper. You won't hear about us on the radio. We don't seek any glory. We don't wear any uniform. We come in all shapes and sizes, colors and styles. Most of us working honestly. We are quietly working behind the scenes in every country and culture of the world, cities big and small, mountains and valleys, and farms and villages, tribes and remote islands. You could pass by one of us on the street and not even notice. We go undercover. We remain behind the scenes. It is no concern to us who takes the final credit, but simply that the work gets done. Occasionally, we spot each other on the street. We give a quiet nod and continue on our way. During the day, many of us pretend we have normal jobs, but behind the false storefront at night is where the real work takes place. Some call us the conscious army. We are slowly creating a new world with the power of our minds and hearts. We follow with passion and joy. Our orders come from the central spiritual intelligence. We are dropping soft, secret love bombs when no one is looking. Poems, hugs, music, photography, movies, kind words, smiles, meditation and prayer, dance, social activism, websites, blogs, random acts of kindness. We express ourselves in our own unique ways with our own unique gifts and talents. Be the change you wish to see in this world. That is the motto that fills our hearts. We know it is the only way real transformation takes place. We know that quietly and humbly, we have the power of all the oceans combined. Our work is slow and meticulous, like the formation of mountains. It is not even visible at first glance, yet with entire tectonic plates shall be moved in the centuries to come. Love is the new religion of the 21st century. You don't have to be a highly educated person or have any exceptional knowledge to understand it. It comes from the intelligence of the heart, embedded in the timeless evolutionary pulse of all human beings. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Nobody else can do it for you. We are now recruiting. Perhaps you will join us. Or if you're here, you already have. All are welcome. The door is always wide open. And with that, I'm just going to say, and so it is. ChristineEss.
In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep, from the mountain of faith to a river so deep. I must be looking for something sacred I lost, but that river is wide and too hard to cross. But even though I know the river is wide, I walk down every evening and stand at the shore and try to cross to the opposite side so I can finally find what I've been looking for. In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep through the valley of fear to a river so deep. I've been searching for something taken out of my soul, something I'd never lose, something somebody stole. I don't know why I go walking at night, but I'm tired and I don't want to walk anymore. I hope it doesn't take the rest of my life until I find what it is that I've been looking for. In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep through the jungle of doubt feel something, something so undefined that it can only be seen by the eyes of the blind in the middle of the night. I'm not sure about life after this. God knows I've never been the spiritual type. Baptized by the fire, I wait to the river that runs to the promised land. In the middle of the night, I've been walking in my sleep through the desert of truth to a river so deep. We all land in the ocean, we all start in the streams. We're all carried along by the river of dreams in the middle of the night.
Thank you, ChristineEss. I'm going to turn on the candles here. Candles signify they signify the Christ within us, the power within us, our connection to heaven within us. And so having 4 candles there, embracing Buddha, is a nice way to go as we get close to Christmas. I brought my jumbo-sized Bible today, and you can tell I'm sort of dressed in sort of traditional Christian preacher clothes, and it's because I'm going to talk about the Gospels today. But it's the Nativity. Then Christmas is about. Last week we talked about the. Was it last week? We talked about how Charles Dickens reinvented Christmas, invented modern Christmas back in London. And we talked about Buddha's enlightenment, and now we're going to talk about the story of the birth of Christ within us. It's also the story of the birth of a baby named Jesus 2,000 years ago, but that story sort of emphasizes and tells us about what's going on in us with the birth of the Christ idea within us. So I think we all know, I generally try to stay away from the Christ language, but the way we learned it in seminary is that Jesus is the name of a wonderful guy who was born 2,000 years ago. And Christ is a title referring to, the Messiah, the enlightened one. It's our connection to the divine. So any of us has our Christed self. So when I talk about the birth of the Christ within, I'm not saying that there's a 2,000-year-old baby. I'm saying that the same spirit which imbued him, which he demonstrated, which people have been writing about for thousands of years, is here today, right now, in us. There are three birth stories in the Gospels. The shortest one's in St. John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Short and sweet. You're right. So that's good. But Matthew and Luke tell 2 very different stories. And but before I launch into them, I'm going to talk about how this relates to this year. We've been doing a grand rising, and December is the final month of our grand rising, and we're going to end the year having completed the steps for our grand rising and being ready to move into our next year, our next destination. So we have this is our message today. I swim, let's say it together, I swim in the flow of consciousness, sowing good wherever I go. I swim in the flow of consciousness, sowing good wherever I go. And our lessons are that when we want to do good, if we want to oppose something, it's okay to notice. I mean, of course, it's very obvious there are presence of things we oppose in the world, but we don't want to focus too much on that. What we want to see the presence of something we don't want, and we can issue a denial. We can deny its power to impact our lives, and then we affirm the good. What is the opposite of that? What is what we want in our life? So we don't focus on the bad. We focus on the good thing that we're moving into. And with that, I'm going to start us on the second story of the birth of Christ within us, according to St. Matthew. And this is Joseph's story. Joseph represents the enlightened intellect. He has all thoughts and plans and making things work. And so the first thing Joseph wants when he's telling you about himself is he wants you to know that he is a direct lineal descendant of King Solomon, the wisest king ever. And also a direct descendant of King David, Solomon's dad, who is well known for being a good shepherd and taking care of his people and really being a very energetic, powerful king. And then it goes back, to Israel, Isaac, and Abraham. He goes all the way back. Just so you know, he's not some schmo. This is Joseph we're talking about. Now, at the beginning of the story, Joseph's first thing is he's been betrothed to Mary, and he is having second thoughts about it. And he's beginning to plan out his divorce. He's like, how can I do like a quick, quiet divorce so it's no hassle for anybody? Because it just seems like Mary is not that as into me as I am into her. But luckily, he has a dream, and the angel Gabriel comes to him in a dream, and in the dream, Gabriel says, no, she's filled with the Holy Spirit. You're not noticing. That's why her attention is sort of distant, because it's the Holy Spirit surround and outflowing from her. And Joseph, you really want to be married to somebody who is like filled with the Holy Spirit and is giving birth to a new consciousness in the world. And Joseph's like, yeah, that's better than I had thought. The story I was telling about it was not nearly as good as that. So that's the beginning of the Gospel according to Matthew. And then Matthew jumps to the Magi coming from the east. And Magi is a Zoroastrian word meaning priest, but these are considered to be wise men and astrologers. Astrology was part of the Zoroastrian religion. And they had found, they also represent the enlightened intellect. And they are looking for the birth of a new world, for somebody who's coming, who's going to change the consciousness of the world. And they had figured out it was happening in Israel. So they're like, okay, this is going to be the new king of the Jews. What do we do? Well, logically, let's go to the old king of the Jews and ask him. It's probably his prince, his little boy. So they went there and met Herod and said, do you know anything about this new king of the Jews? He said, no, I heard nothing. Why don't you tell me when you find it so that I can come and worship him too? They're like, okay. And then they head off. Now, what they didn't know, Herod really liked the job of being king. In fact, they called him Herod the Great because he loved to build things. He had all these edifices built, and so Jerusalem was really a beautiful looking place. But he was very worried that somebody might shorten his reign, and so his family members kept suddenly dying and disappearing, especially the ones who were in line for the throne. And Augustus Caesar was actually a childhood friend of his. They'd been teenagers together, and Augustus Caesar said, "I would rather be King Herod's pig than his family members, because I'd be safer." Like, bacon may be delicious, but being in line for the throne was a lethal experience in Herod's palace. So Herod, it turns out, Herod is that part of us that has decided it likes the way things are now and does not want to change. And any move for change, Herod's like, no. We like it the way it is, no changes. Let's keep everything locked in place. And when we see that part of ourselves, what do? We try not to listen to it too hard. We sort of welcome and accept it and recognize that some part of us, the Herod parts of us, wants things to be the same, and we figure out what it is we like about that so that we can keep that while we move into our divine ideas. So, but back to the story. The wise men were hunting, so Herod's in Jerusalem, building beautiful buildings, enjoying his palace, and keeping his kingship safe. The Magi are headed they end up in Bethlehem. It ends up taking them like about 2 years to get there. So when they knock on the front door of Joseph's house. Notice in this story, there's no manger. It's a house. They knock on the front door. Mary answers the door. They say, "Have you seen the new King of the Jews?" And he says, "Baby Jesus, people here to see you." He toddles up. They come in. And they have fun. They give them gifts. So the three kings in tradition, the youngest one is from Ethiopia, and he's named Balthazar. And his gift is the gift of myrrh. And I should say we have myrrh in our gift shop if anybody wants to experience it for yourself. But myrrh is used. It's used in funerary celebrations. It represents eternal life beyond the body. That we have an eternal selves. We're all living eternal lives while we simultaneously are living lives as humans. And so myrrh sort of brings us to our eternal selves. And so this was the gift of Balthazar to baby Jesus. Well, toddler Jesus. Then the next one is Melchior, who's about 40, and he brought frankincense. And what frankincense represents, frankincense is something you burn. Myrrh you burn too, so you smell it, which is nice because it really reacts. When you smell things, that's your most primitive sense. And so it really activates a part of the brain outside of the intellect. And so this is one of the reasons they use things like frankincense and myrrh, is because you could activate your feeling nature. The frankincense represents the bridge between heaven and earth. So I often talk about how we live in two worlds. We live in the world of heaven and the world of earth, and we are always combining those. Frankincense is made to bridge those. So we are connecting to heaven and to earth simultaneously. And so this is the power. It makes sense. We hear about Jesus Christ was God walking on earth, bridging as we all are in some sense. We have that divine power within us, and we're undeniably extremely human. Casper is the oldest of the wise men. He's depicted with a white beard, so I could be dressed as Casper now. he's very practical, 60-year-old. He said, yeah, love that spiritual stuff. Here's some gold. You may need some money to grease the way, and make sure you have nice things for your baby. So they entertained the wise men, and they introduced them to their neighbors, and they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them, and invited them to stay overnight. And the next morning, it turned out the three wise men and Joseph had all had dreams. The three wise men had one dream, and their dream said, "Do not go back to Herod." Herod does not mean well for baby Jesus. Head back to your home countries through a different path. So they're like, we're good with that. And so they headed back a different way. Joseph's dream said, Bethlehem is no longer safe. And so you need to head out of town. So he listed the house on Zillow, got a little donkey cart, and stuck Mary in it, and Mary and Jesus and baby Jesus, headed to Alexandria. They're like, I've always wanted to go to Alexandria. Alexandria was sort of a cool place. It had the biggest library in the world, and so there were lots of scholars there. It was a seaport, so you get to meet lots of people. So baby Jesus would grow up in this place that was full of spiritual and intellectual wise men, learned people, and not only that, Joseph as a carpenter could get lots of work building bookcases and things for people in Alexandria. So there, plus he had the gold, so he could rent a place. So, and that's it. That's the story of the Nativity according to Matthew. So it's interesting, So the story of according to Luke is quite different, because Mary represents our feeling nature, our passion, and our power. And so at the very beginning, we don't even start with Mary. We start with Mary's cousins, Elizabeth. And we don't even start with Elizabeth. We start with Elizabeth's husband, Zechariah. And Zechariah is having a conversation with Gabriel, the angel. And Gabriel says to Zechariah, "You are blessed among all men, because your wife is going to have a child who's going to lead the way. John the Baptist, he's going to lead the way, pave the way to a new consciousness on earth." And Zechariah said, No, you're all mixed up. It's not me. She's too old. Nothing like that's happening. Forget about it. And Gabriel says, I don't think you're going to be a positive influence here. I'm going to remove the power of speech from you for about 9 months. And so what does Zechariah represent in us? Zechariah is that part of us that cannot believe that change is possible. He's not trying to kill the change. He's just like, it's impossible. It cannot happen. Don't waste my time talking about it. And so that's a part of your head. It'd be nice if we all, like Gabriel, had the power to say, you don't get to talk for 9 months. But what we do have the power to do is to focus on the good, to try to listen to this and say, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of change we can make. And so Elizabeth, we leave Elizabeth and Zechariah there, and we go to where Angel Gabriel's next stop is Mary. And this is called the Annunciation, where Gabriel says, hey, Mary, we want to bring God on earth to change everybody's consciousness. What about it? And Mary says, I'm in, dog. You got it. And so Mary was all in. I am blessed among women, she says. But Mary at this point is like, Joseph's been acting a little weird. I think I'm going to go hang out with my cousin Elizabeth. And Gabriel's like, it's okay, I'll fix up Joseph, but Elizabeth might need some company. Her husband isn't going to be talking much. So she hangs out with Elizabeth, until John the Baptist is born, at which point Zechariah gets back his power of speech. And we leave those guys there. She walks back to Nazareth. But by the time she gets to Nazareth, Joseph is very happy to see her, but he says, Mary, sorry to tell you, but there's this government bureaucracy thing, and we gotta go to Bethlehem. And so she's like, oh, do I get a change of clothes? He's like, if you do it quick. So they go and they head to Bethlehem, and Joseph forgot to make reservations, so there's no hotel room for them. They end up outside the hotel room, and they end up having the baby in a manger. Now, a manger, you guys may or may not know this. A manger is not the little shed you always see the people in. It's the little food crib that the baby is laid in. Instead of using a crib, it normally holds animal food. But I think, having the baby there with the animals is probably handy because, it was winter, December 25th. I checked the weather in Bethlehem, and this week it's a little warmer than we are. The lows are in the mid-40s and the highs are in the mid-60s. So we'd think that's cool, but if you're sort of outside in the wind, it's sort of nice to have the warmth of the animals around you, in the middle of the night. So they had this cozy scene with the animals, and then an angel came and brought a heavenly host and went to see the shepherds and said to the shepherds, hey, there's something going on, in Bethlehem. Why don't you come and see it? And they're like, the shepherds are, if a heavenly host tells us to go, we're there. And so they went to see, and they saw, oh my God, look, it's the Christ born in all of us. So what do the shepherds represent? Well, so in Matthew, he talks about how he's related to kings, and he's got magi coming from far away, and they're, keeping away from King Herod. Luke is more like we're all people. So the shepherds represent, they aren't particularly well paid, but they perform a valuable service. And in fact, they look after the sheep. They make sure the sheep are safe. And there are people in our lives, metaphysically speaking, they represent the people who keep us safe, the people who are watching out for us. We are all shepherds to various people at various times. Whenever I go for a walk with my grandchildren, somebody's going to bolt into the street, and I'm the shepherd there to grab the hand before they make it. And so this is what they've got. Mary's got the shepherds lined up around, and we've got the feeling of love and the birth of the new consciousness. The next story Mary tells is about what happens when Jesus is 12 years old. And they are walking. The whole extended family loves to go to Jerusalem for the Passover festival. It is a blast. You get to see all your old friends and relatives, and you get to celebrate how God saved the world by having the angel of death pass over everybody, pass over all of us. Only hit the bad guys. So at the end of the Passover festival, everybody got back, and they were walking back to Nazareth. It's about a day's walk back to Nazareth from Jerusalem. And when they got home, Joseph and Mary are like, hey, where's Jesus? Like, nobody's seen him. And so, I know, it's like Home Alone. So they turned around and they walked all the way back to Jerusalem, a whole day's walk, and they ended up finding him at the temple. And he has got all these wise teachers around him, and he's talking to them and asking questions, and he's really fascinated by this. And, maybe this is part of the Alexandria, what he picked up when they were living in Alexandria, all the wise men from there. But for whatever reason, or maybe it's just because of the divine consciousness within him, noticing that these guys are trying to explain the universe with the intellect. And he's like, the intellect and the heart can work together, and we can all all love one another. Whatever, we don't actually know what the message is. We know that the teacher said, that is a very wise child you have there. And Mary says, hey, Jesus, how could you do this to us? We went all the way home and you just abandoned us. And Jesus said, when you know, why would you be surprised that I'm in my Father's house? And I don't know if Joseph had something about who's the real father, but probably not. I don't. But then they went back, and this is a story. Mary chose to tell that story, I think, to show that one, it's not perfect having. You may have a perfect child, but it's not. Life is not perfect with a perfect child, because sometimes they forget to tell you that they're staying behind in Jerusalem, and you have to spend more days on the road to go find them. Two, sometimes your husband thinks that the accommodations are a lot better than you thought they were. But the idea is Mary is the feeling nature, and Joseph is the thinking nature. There is a way to get those stories together. And when you see the nativities, you see the Magi. Everybody loves having Magi in the nativities because they dress up in fancy, colorful clothes. But they're sort of from a different story. But I guess it's nice to have them there, sort of waving like, we wish we would have gone there too. It just took us 2 more years to get there. So this is the story, and they did change the world. When Jesus was born in the world, Rome was a very large military dictatorship. And while it continued to be a military dictatorship, as Christianity grew, that became a religion based on love, not on terror. Rome ruled through fear, it ruled through terror, and they changed that as much as they could. It isn't that there weren't elements, in the early Christian church that reverted to the bad side, but fundamentally, its goal was to create more love in the world and to help people love one another. And as human beings do, they followed it very imperfectly. But it was a transformation from a belief that might makes right, because God wills it, to belief that might may make right, but really, we can love one another too. So when we live in a world which is imperfect, and as we see the things that we don't like in the world, and the way our brains are built, it's a lot easier for us to see what we don't like. Allow yourself to think of those as being, obstacles that aren't really obstacles. You think of them and you deny their power to impact your life, and then you move forward and look at what you want instead. And then we emphasize the positive good, because we can all transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. And I'm looking out on a room full of people who do transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. And so this is our Christmas message. We can always find a positive message. We can see the positive things people are doing. People make mistakes, and we can overlook it. We can weave that into our positive story. But we can also notice that we have the Christ within us born now. And actually, I want to do a short meditation on that. Let's all touch our hearts for a moment and breathe into our hearts. And let's just open our hearts to gratitude, to love. And notice how that love fills your heart and overflows from your heart and fills your body. And allow yourself to lean back on that love, that appreciation, that ease. And notice that it stretches out and connects us all to each other and to everybody at home, no matter when we are watching this, because love lives in eternity. And from our hearts, now let's move our awareness down to our feet, down into the earth. And our awareness can move like roots down through the earth, down through the realm of the manifest, into our synapses with the unmanifest realm. And as we reach that realm of heaven, that realm of the unmanifest, we bring it back into us and move it into our bellies. And as we bring our awareness to our bellies, we find that this is where Christ is being born in this moment, in every moment. Find that awareness of creation happening within our belly. This is our spiritual womb. And inside we can feel the growth of divine ideas. We can feel the growth and the power of ideas that change the world, of blended consciousness, of joy and wonder. And we are both that which is being birthed and that which is giving birth. And we take that divine Christ itself, move it through our hearts into our heads. And we find our heads are open and spacious, still and full of awe and wonder and quiet. As we are present to bring the divine idea into ourselves, present to bring our new consciousness to the world, present to manifest into whatever is our destiny to manifest, to bring our higher self to everything in our lives. And now let's deeply inhale again. Move our awareness back into our hearts. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So let's once again say this 3 more times together. I swim in the flow of consciousness, sowing good wherever I go. I swim in the flow of consciousness, sowing good wherever I go. I swim in the flow of consciousness, sowing good wherever I go. And we do, and we did, and you are. You're agents of God everywhere. So I'm going to encourage you to look on your seats for prayer cards and pledge cards. If you haven't pledged, I encourage you to do it. What we want to do, the board is eager to be as generous as possible to people and to make our church service even nicer than it is now. And they are also good stewards of our money, and so whatever they have, they will use wisely and generously to give us, to make everybody's life more expansive and abundant. And then there is a prayer card, and of course, I always encourage you to do your demonstration, any kind of prayer you've ever known to be answered, whatever inspires you, because it is that demonstration of prayer that powers the next prayer, that lets your divine intellect know that this is real, this is powerful, and we can get fully behind it. This is what helps silence Zechariah, is when Zechariah knows the power of the new idea. And we as Elizabeth get to demonstrate.
Come with me, and we'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in what we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. Come with me and we'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of migration. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Wanna change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know that compares with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
That was fantastic. I think we should give ChristineEss another hand for that. I think you need a bigger Bible. I want the one what Mary says, "I'm in, dog." And dude, yeah, I know. Mine had all that redacted, man. I don't know. There you go. Well, Genesis is a community dedicated to love, inspiring harmony, and creating connections to empower spiritual growth, and we love that you are here to share in that with us. This is an invitation to participate in circulation, to connect with abundance and generosity. Your participation makes all this possible, and we truly appreciate your support. Let us take a moment to craft our financial gift. invite us all to hold our prayer requests and offering next to our heart as we say our offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and I am thankful. All right, and we'll have Gideon come around and collect our offering as we sing, God is my source.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
So with open hearts, we receive these gifts, knowing that fruits come forth to powerful works. We bless the givers, knowing that as we give, we receive tenfold. In deep gratitude, we give thanks, and so it is. So thank you for joining us today. Please join us after the service for food and fellowship. I'll be in the alcove for anyone who wants to see a spiritual practitioner. So we wish you all a week filled with joy, love, and true connection. Let's all stand up and sing I Release.